What's happening, y'all? It's your boy 3 Stacks in this thing, and today I'm gonna update my True King and Zing list. So it's got real spicy. It's got tons of clutch text, and it's an amazing deck. It's coming into its own. The only cards I'm missing now are literally just the diagrams, and that's it. Everything else is complete. The extra deck and the main deck is completely. It's just done. As far as rarity, this is as far as I'm gonna go as hollowing the deck out. I think every card in here is like pretty much shiny except for the 9 pillars, and then the Zafranu because they only come in rares. But the deck is just insane. What I like about this deck is your skill level, basically your skill level is your limitation with this deck, because this deck literally has like no limits. It can do so much. Like this deck can play through like insane boards that weren't even supposed to be played through in the first place, and like it just has such skillful interactions on your opponent's turn where you can synchro summon, and making certain different synchros in your opponent's turn can just be such a thorn in their side. In addition to that, just like, oh my goodness, the Chow Fang's effect when he's destroyed, you can search any tuner from your deck to your hand. Now, if you're maining the hand traps, like Ghost Ogre or the Ashen Joyous Spring, the new chick that came out that's like 90 bucks, you can literally search her off your Chow Fang. So like this deck does retarded stuff, like redundant stuff that decks aren't supposed to do. And like this deck just, oh, it's so clutch. Like if it goes second, OTKs. Like if it goes first, it makes like Calamities, Crystal Wing backed up with 4 or 5 counter traps. It's just like GG no re. It's insane. Let's go ahead and hop right into this list. Without any further ado, we're playing 3 copies of Jiaotu. So this guy is just such an insane card. Like Jiaotu is savage. Most people be getting bodied by Jiaotu. Like when you resolve this guy, you're supposed to win. He just gets you there. Like he gets you everything you need. This guy can literally turn into a True King of all Calamities, a Crystal Wing. It can turn into a double Baxia with backed up with the 9 pillars. It's just so clutch. Jiaotu is an insane. This is like the power card. You want to see this in your hand more than you want to see True Kings, because Jiaotu, it's like True Kings do what Jiaotu does, but it's like having True Kings is like having extra copies of Jiaotu, because the True Kings just help you combo off the same way Jiaotu does. But Jiaotu is just so much better in what he does. He's insanely broken. Such a powerful card. Moving forward to the actual True King, so we're going to leave the 3 copies of Jiaotu there. Alright, so I'm also playing 3 copies of Lithogasm, the Disaster. I'm resolving this guy going first. You already know what you're gonna you already know what you're going against. You know what you're gonna be playing up, or like you know what you're playing against, so you know what to play around. So you know if it's like a back row heavy deck. If you see a totally awesome, expect to see traps. If you see Elder Entity Norden, expect it to be Zoo. Expect to see some traps, a lot of back row, and long turns. So it's just really clutch. Just this guy just gets you there. And taking the Norden from Zodiacs means like no future sub combo, even though they can still do regular Norden, like regular Zoo stuff. Like no Norden means like no +5. So this guy's just such an insane freaking card. And his Monster Reborn effect is clutch when you're reviving cards like your Dinlong from graveyard, because when he's popped, he special summons any worm monster that's not Earth type from your graveyard. So he's just like Monster Reborn. So this card's like so many times he's like a sack. Like, oh my goodness, he's just retarded. This guy, like, it's unfair. Like Lithogasm is just too good. And then in tandem with that, we're running 3 copies of Barastos the Fathomer. So this guy's like arguably just as broken as Fathomer with the combos that you can do with them, especially just this guy and Lithogasm and Barastos the Fathomer are great comboing off with Magma Dragon. He can special Magma Dragon from deck, and he can special Magma Dragon from grave, which instantly gets you like your Dinlong, your Dinlong True King of all Calamities play. So these guys are just like arguably just as important as each other, because they do kind of like the same thing. But if you open up with both of these in hand, you have access to any combo that you want. It's so stupid. Like if you guys saw the combo video I did with True King and Zins, you guys realized that these 2 guys were the 2 cards that were part of every single combo. Like just when you have these 2, it's just like it's like almost like you have a door open to all the opportunities and possibilities that your deck has in its capabilities. In tandem with that, we're playing 3 copies of Ariadne, the True Draco Phoenix. So insane. This card gets you so far ahead in the game. When you have this guy on the field, and banishing 4 cards from your opponent's deck is really retarded. Like, it's redundant. You don't even realize, like, the stuff that you banish is extremely important. Like, you could be banishing that sack. Like, you could be banishing cards that could potentially be a threat to you, but you're eliminating the threat with Mariamne. So she's just so powerful. Sometimes it's better than, banishing your opponent's back row or banishing your opponent's extra deck. Mariamne's effect is retarded. Absolutely redundant. And even her effect to search, it's pretty clutch. I like it a lot. I'm going to turn this up a little bit. But yeah, I like her effect a lot. She's just such a powerful card and beautiful artwork. In fact, all the True Kings look savage. Like, all their artwork is just gorgeous. They look like monstrous creatures. But I believe worms are just cosmic dragons in general, which means they're dragons in a sense, but they're like cosmic dragons, I guess. And then 2 Agni Mazud, the Vanisher. Most people don't know how to say his name. It's Agni Mazud. Say it with me. Agni Mazud, the Vanisher. This guy banishes monsters. He's only clutch 1 second, which is why I play 2 of them, because I don't want to open up with them, and I definitely don't want to like break with him, because like if you have 2 of them in your hand and you use his effect on himself, it's like you don't get anything back, because like you can't add a fire. So he's like the worst. He's the worst one to have, like in so many different scenarios. He's like really only powerful when there's like monsters for him to get rid of. He just helps you to play through your opponent's established fields, especially like if you just can get this guy on board. You can use his effect, Call Fire, pop 2 of your opponent's monsters to summon him, use his effect off to banish another monster, and then attack with the 2. So just True King of Calamities in combination with Vanisher gets rid of 5 monsters. So it basically outs an entire established field, all 5. Pop 2, banish a 3rd, and then attack the other 2 with these guys. So like this deck is insanely broken going 1st or 2nd. It's like way more powerful than Mermails, than the Metaphors Yang Zing strategy. It's just like so much more powerful. It's like it wins going 1st or 2nd. Like the thing is, you just have to find a way to counter the strategy. Like there's certain side deck cards that hurt this deck, but I can't really share them yet. But yeah, it's a really strong deck. Most of the time, it just feels like it's invincible. Moving forward, so that's gonna be it for pretty much all your opening. These are guys that you want to open up with. These are basically like your play starters. So we're gonna go ahead and on a piece of paper, we're gonna like mark a tally. So I had like a piece of paper where I was putting like combo starters and then play stoppers. So for combo starters, we have 11, 14. So we're just gonna put down, you know, in tallies, bam, bam. All right, that's 14 right there. And then moving forward with the list, we have 2 copies of Chi-Wen. He's not really a play starter. He's more of like this guy's more like an in between play. Sometimes I really feel salty about this guy because you will draw him in like those weird, awkward situations. So I try my best to deck in both of these guys and like get them out the deck immediately, or just like I try my best to use my my Yang Zin's effect to special summon him from deck, because it's just like he's like the worst card to draw because you want him in grave or you want him on field. It's like never good in hand unless you have Jiaotu. It's like I play 2 of him because like I never want to open more than 1 of him. Like I can tolerate 1 of them, but I can never tolerate drawing 2 Chi-Wens. So that's my reason for playing 2. And like in those grind games where you like think, you know, the 3rd one would come up, it really doesn't. Most of the time, like if I know I'm gonna need it again, I just use Baxia's actual effect to special summon him instead of using his effect when a Yang Zin's effect. When a Yang Zin's destroyed, just use Baxia to hard summon him from grave. That way, you can use his effect again later on. So the 2 is just fine. It's worked out perfectly fine for me. But yeah, Chi-Wen is the only guy that kind of has like an awkward number in my list, because most would think you should play 3 Chi-Wen. But this is kind of like, it's still pure Yang Zin, but for some reason the 3 just doesn't work enough for me. And this next card is, oh my goodness, I'm so passionate about this next card. So we're playing 3 copies of Guiding Ariadne. Now this card just like sweeps your opponent off his feet, like literally. This is like such a powerful card. The mechanic in this deck is insane. You have 9 targets for this, and the idea of this deck, you want to summon cards like True King of All Calamities, or you want to summon Chao Fang, or you want to summon Crystal Wing, or you want to have Cypher and Little Omega, or a card like Herald of the Arclight, to control what your opponent does and back that up with counter traps. And you just swarm the field with boss monsters, so all you have to do is stall your opponent for literally just 1 turn. Because your first turn, you summon over 8,000 worth of damage basically in the sense of monsters. Like, you know, you summon 4 or 5 huge beaters, and you only realistically need 2 of them to attack for game. So it's like from there, all you need to do is just block your opponent's plays. You know, cock block everything that he does, keep his field clear, prevent him from ever establishing his board or getting monsters out. So that way he has to rely on his back row. And if he's relying on things like Mirror Force, that's the reason why you play Guiding Ariadne also. Because you search the cards that can stop the Mirror Forces and stop the Solemn Strikes that would bother you. So this guy is just such a powerful card. I think he's one of the most skillful cards I play, and the reason why I decided to put him on my list, because he wasn't in before, is like he just gets me out of those awkward situations where it's like you weren't supposed to win in the first place. Like your opponent has the 9 pillars, and he has Evil Zorn Lagia, and he has True King of All Calamities. Like True King Dinos open up crazy. And it's like you side deck like 3 copies of Quaking Mirror Force, and you side in 3 Stormy Mirror Forces for them, right? And then like you flip a Mirror Force, they try to like chain to negate with Lagia, and then you chain to negate with the 9 pillars, and then they chain to negate with their 9 pillars, then you flip the Zephyr Divine Strike and end that. So like that's why I play Guiding Ariadne, because like most of the time I'll be able to search like one counter trap. And the thing was, a lot of times in playtesting I needed more than one counter trap just to play through that weird scenario. Like where the True King Dinos, they actually get to make their Ultima Izoken off their Dinlong, and they search the they search the 9 pillars, so they have that live counter trap. So it's like you have to basically have that additional counter trap for your turn so you can build up to the Chain Link 5 so you can stop them. So that was one of the main reasons why I really put in the Guiding Ariadne as like a spicy tech, because I wanted to be able to play up to higher chain links. Even though I'm playing counter traps like the True King Dinos, like I was saying, they main deck that 9 pillars, and although they only play one, realistically, Evil Zarlagia backed up with that 9 pillars, and like I was saying, like True King of all calamities, that's supposed to be like game right there. So like you need an extra counter trap to back it up. So like I love this guy because he helps you search them out, he helps you play them for free, and he's just great fodder for your True Kings. Just popping them, you get more value out of him. He's just like Yang Zin in the sense that he replaces himself with more stuff. And in addition to that, he's actually a low scale, which is something really cool that comes up because this deck is actually able to pendulum summon through the 7 scale here and the 3 scale here. The deck has great recovery options. Like I was saying, great going first or second, and then that grind game synergy where every single monster is a floater. If you kill it, it's like fire or ice hand. It just specials something else. And then to top it all off, we have the pendulum mechanic built. So our grind game is so durable. Like all of our bodies float, so like you have to just consistently find a way to get rid of them without destroying them. And then you have the pendulum mechanic to just out of nowhere pendulum summon and just make a huge comeback. And it's so awesome just keeping like one of these guys in rotation on your extra deck to just pendulum summon it every single turn to get that free 9 pillars, and then search off another 9 pillars off of Dinlong, and then pop him using Baxia and search a Zephyr Divine Strike and put him back to your extra deck. Then you have 3 live counter traps, and then you could pendulum summon him back again. And it's just like, as long as you keep these guys in rotation, your counter traps are always going to be in your hand. You're always going to be able to answer to your opponent's board. It's just so crazy. Like I was saying, so my theory is like a card like this in Mirror Force or like Raigeki, any board wipe backed up with the counter trap should be able to clear any entire established board. But because the True King Dinos are not playing one of these, you need double counter traps to answer to their established boards now, because they can back it up with the pillars. So that's the reason why I changed my list to basically be like a counter trap heavy list, because I want my opponent, I want to be able to stop my opponent, and I don't want him to be able to react to my plays. And also when I shut him down, I don't want him to be able to have a secondary chain reaction. So that's the reason for playing the counter traps, because they are spell speed 3. And moving forward to 3 copies of Beyond. Like Safrano, Beyond is just like great fodder for your True King Lithogasm the Disaster. So you play 3 of him because these are the guys you want to see in your opening hand. Everything else you play at 2 because you don't want to draw it. So we're also playing 2 Big Sea the Water. Make your guys unaffected by traps if you're playing like the True Dracos, because their traps can pop your monsters if they go to the grave. And also that's another thing that's cool about this deck. Similar to True Dracos, we can make our monsters unaffected by whatever is a problem for us. And if monster effects are such a big deal, we can skill drain them with True King of all calamities, or we can skill drain them with Chao Fang. We can block them, cock block them with Crystal Wing and Herald. And we also have counter traps like a mug. So monster effects are not really a problem. Most of the time it's just like back rows and then like big beaters. So you just want to make your synchros unaffected by spells and traps and make sure they can't be destroyed by battle. That way your opponent can only answer them with either a monster effect or a kaiju. And as long as you can keep your True King of all calamities in rotation, they have to kaiju your monsters, or they can't get over them by any way, shape, or form. Literally, there's no other mechanic to break it. And then 2 Swanee. This guy, you don't want to play him at 3 because, again, you don't want to open with them. That's the only reason why I'm playing these guys at 2, because I don't want to open with them. Not that they're bricks. Any Yang Zin is good to have in hand, but I wanted specific ones because there's certain True Kings that are live more often than the other ones. 1 pull out. You want to make your guys unaffected by spells for those awkward, like, main deck kaijus. You know, Zodiac kaijus, they main 2 Slumbers. They main 2 Dark Holes. They main the Raigeki. They have 5 active board wipes. You want to make your Synchro unaffected by their board wipes. As a Froxy, he just helps you for those awkward, strange scenarios where it's like, oh my god, I have triple Baxia, and it's like, yeah, triple Baxia, and then you have 2 open monster zones, and you really need 3 or 4. So like, you summon your Zafroxy, target one of the Baxias, and then turn them into a tuner, and then synchro using the 2 Baxias and make it Ultima Izoken. So that was just one of those awkward scenarios that he helped me just basically to help rebuild my board. And also, just making any guy a tuner just like helps you to make those synchros. With the levels that you naturally didn't have because you didn't even have a tuner to begin with. So it's a really great card to have, just as a one-off, because he keeps himself in rotation, just keep putting himself back into the deck. and 1 skill to play if you need a Pendulum Summon, and also he's a Zephrani. I'm sorry, also he's a Zephyr monster for your Zephyr Divine Strike, because I do main the Divine Strike. And the final monster is 1 copy of Mecha Dragon. This is by far the most broken worm type monster in my deck. The recovery plays are so insane just with this 1 card. When you use your Baxia to pop any monster, like a Yang Zin for example, or let's say you pop Guiding Ariadne, search your counter trap, then special summon him. His effect will then special summon any worm type from your graveyard. You can special summon your Denlong, for example. Like, let's say you pop the, let's say you have your Baxia on field, right? You pop a Yang Zin, pop like Bixie, right? Bixie's effect is special summon. Then you special this guy from grave, his effect, special that, and then Bixie's effect, special that. Then you synchro with this and this into a second Baxia, and then Denlong's effect brings out another one. Then you can make triple Baxia off of 1 Baxia. And the way you make 3 Baxia off of 1 Baxia is if you have Magma Dragon in grave. All you need is literally just this 1 card, and it'll turn 1 Baxia into 3, and that can be an OTK. It's just so redundant. Like, this card is so stupid. It should be on a ban list somewhere, but it's not banned at all. It's at 3. It's a retarded card. And I think the real reason why people don't really see the potential in this card is because people don't see the potential in this deck. Like, people don't really care for Yang Zins or True Kings. Everybody's like, I care about dinosaurs and Dracos and Zodiacs. And moving forward with spells, just 3 paths. The only spell I play is the only spell I want to see. If you want to play other spells, honestly, I recommend, you know, save up a little bit of money, buy the deck. It's not that expensive, and build it how you want to build it. But this is how I want to play my list. There's a certain way that I wanted my deck to function, so there's a reason why I do everything. And we're going to have to go ahead and add our tallies for the 3 Yang Zing path, and for the Guiding Ariadnes and the Zephrano, because these are play starters and also play stoppers. So we're going to go ahead and tally those up. Alright. And moving forward to the traps. Of course we're playing the Solemns. Triple Solemn Strike. This is the most skillful trap in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! I think that this trap can take you like to the ends of the earth and back. Like, this trap gets you so far. It doesn't just get you there. It gets you way past there, and then you're looking back there like, dang, I didn't even think I'd be there, and now I'm here. Like, this trap is just insane. When you activate this, depending on the time that you wait, when you force your opponent to play into a pillars, he can kill himself. Like, he can literally kill himself. Like, this card is that powerful. Like, this trap has probably the highest ceiling in the game aside from like Solemn Judgment. This trap is even better than Strike most of the time. It really is. Like, it's just so powerful. The fact that it not only negates, but it shuffles, and then it pops your Yang Zin. So normally when you activate 9 pillars, you're able to make Denlong and search another 9 pillars. That's what makes this card even more skillful. The fact when you play it, it replenished itself with another copy of itself. So effectively, it's like you're playing 3 of it. Once you have 1, you get to see all 3 of them right away. So like, you get to this card extremely quick just by playing it. Like, it's such a skillful card. Like, man, you wait till the opportune moment and flip that pillars on your opponent. Flip a pillars and they're gonna scoop on you. It's just such a powerful card. It's so much better than Strike most of the time. And a lot of times I just use Strike on summons, because as far as monster effects, I got it covered. You know, I have skill drains for days. So Strike really is here to stop special summons. And the 9 pillars most of the time is here to stop back rows, like Solemn Strikes. Mainly 9 pillars is here to counter the Solemn Strike. That's another reason why pillars is such a skillful card, because it stops the Strike. It lets you play around Strike, and it's such a freaking broken card. And most of the time when people think they have Strike, they think they have game. So, you know, like, pillars just counters everything about that. And to also counter the redundant logic of 9 pillars meaning game, we need to play Zephyr Divine Strike. Because when you have 9 pillars and Solemn Strike, you don't even have game. In playtesting, I've opened up with insane fields, and I had a back row with 9 pillars and Solemn Strike, these 2 counter traps, and it still wasn't enough. So that's why I decided to play the 3 Guiding Ariadnes in the extra deck, in the main deck, and also add in the 2 copies of Divine Strike. What this does is give extra value to my Zephrano in the sense that he gets additional targets to search, so I don't run out of targets, and also I get more value out of him in extra deck, because once I'll Pendulum Summon him and use this effect to search, but you only have so many targets, and once you run out of targets to search, he just sits there in your extra deck, and he's just there. So you use the Divine Strike to get extra value out of him, because originally you wouldn't have done anything with them anyway, so it's like this makes it even more clutch, basically. It's like you're gonna basically like summon your Dinlong, use Dinlong, search a 9 pillars, you know, summon him, pop him, use his effect, search a 9 pillars, and then Pendulum summon him back, and then flip the 9 pillars, pop him, search a Divine Strike, and then Pendulum summon him back, search a 9 pillars. It's just so stupid. Like, just him and Dinlong, make sure that you have double pillars and 1 Divine Strike in 1 turn. It's just so retarded. And the only traps I really wanted to play were traps that are extremely hard to play around. So, the final actual real trap is Solemn Warning, so I just wanted to play the 9 counter traps, so you have 9 targets for guiding Ariadne. I also did that so that it wouldn't be dead, because even when I was playing just triple 9 pillars and triple strike, guiding Ariadne would run out of targets, because like I'll search these like crazy. Like just when you resolve Jiaotu, you search 2 pillars from your deck. So like you'll only have 1 left, and if you drew into a strike, you literally, like if you drew into a strike that turn, you literally only have 3 counter traps left, so you can only resolve 1 guiding Ariadne. So it just, playing it like this gives me more targets for everything, and it just allows me to be even more like a troll than I already am. It's just so freaking clutch. It's like I was saying, when they make that field with that Lagia backed up with that 9 pillars and maybe that Zodiac Dryden and that True King of All Calamities, maybe even Ultimate Conductor Tyranno, and they declare an attack, you flip Mirror Force, they chain Lagia to negate Mirror Force, you activate 9 pillars, they chain their 9 pillars to your 9 pillars, and the reason why they negate it with Lagia on first is because they know you have the 9 pillars, so they don't want to, you know what I'm saying, waste their 9 pillars, so you flip the 9 pillars on theirs. You flip the 9 pillars on the Lagia, and then they negate the 9 pillars with your 9 pillars because they know you have it, and then they think that that's your 9 pillars and that's it, and then you flip the Zephyr Divine Strike, and then that's where you catch them off guard because they just assumed you only have the pillars. So I'll just reset the scenario because this is how it happened and this is why I play it. Declares an attack, right? Dino player has the Lagia, has the Tits, right? He has all the boss monsters. Declare an attack, you flip the Mirror Force. Lagia to negate the Mirror Force. You activate 9 pillars to negate Lagia's effect. They activate 9 pillars to negate your 9 pillars. Then you change Zephyr Divine Strike to negate their 9 pillars. And then everything gets... It's just retarded. That's why I play Divine Strike. This card, like, is insane. This card not only gets you gear, most of the time when you resolve this card, you're supposed to win. Like, because when you resolve this card, you break and out any established board, and you should be able to attack for enough damage for game. So that's why I say when you resolve this card, you should win, because your opponent should be wide open for that, and you can just attack for all the damage you need to. So Divine Strike is actually just like, it's like 9 pillars because it's such a skillful trap, but it's like more or less that trump card. It's like that final trump card that, you know, you just want to save just in case. So the last 2 traps I play are just the 2 waterfalls. This helps you to play around awkward scenarios. Like your opponent plays Kaiju Slumber, right? And you chain this, send all your monsters to graveyard, get draws off of them, and then Kaiju Slumber can't resolve. Or if your opponent was gonna, like, you know, shuffle your monsters, like if he has to target, like if he has an effect that targets, right? Chain this, send your monster to grave, and then it misses target, then he can't resolve the full effect. So it's just a really, really cool trap, and sometimes it can make your opponent's effects miss timing. In addition to that, it searches. So I just thought this was an amazing trap. So this was the only, like, non-trap you could say that I played. Every other trap was like a real trap. And then the extra deck is kind of disorganized. But we're playing 2 copies of True King of All Calamities. This guy is like, we're going to put a tally for in both categories for him, because this guy opens up your plays because you can summon your True Kings for free and pop your opponent's monsters, and he also stops your opponent's plays by skill draining him. And in tandem with that, we're also playing 2 Dinlong. Dinlong is probably the most important Yang Zin in your extra deck. You summon this guy like crazy. You only play 2 because you keep 1 in extra deck and 1 in grave, and you can just keep him rotation off of the True King Lithogasm. When he's popped, you special any non-earth lorem, so you just 2 is just fine. It's just an insane card. And then 3 Baxia, we're going to put a tally for this guy on both categories. Because Baxia, he can start your combos because he pops your Yang Zins and specials. And he can stop your opponent's plays because you can make him on your opponent's turn shuffling everything he has. So depending how far they want to go and if they want to overcommit their resources, you can just answer, out them, make them cry. And if it wasn't enough, flip a Divine Striker like a Pillars if they thought they were going to get you. And then the Chao Fang, such a clutch card. We're going to put a category. Tally for each one for this guy, and then 1 Yazi. This guy just really helps you to play through those boards where you weren't even supposed to be able to play through it originally, because most people like never make Yazi. Hold on, you guys, real fast. I got comfy. Yo, my bad. Yo, I didn't mean to just leave that in the video. I just had somebody knocking on my door fast. But yeah, back to what I was saying. The Yazi. So Yazi helps you to play through fields as well, especially when you're going second. Making Yazi, he's one of the safest synchros to make because if they answer to his summon and like try to pop him or just try to out him in general, he floats when he's destroyed, which is incredible. So like he's one of the safest synchros to make, like I said, because even if you summon him and even if they do get rid of him, he'll float into something else, which just lets you get field presence basically. So most of the time he'll be guaranteed field presence, so he'll like help you play through those back rows. And if they don't out him, like he'll just allow you to just kill cards and snipe. And like he's just like the Yang Zins because he floats. You just make him unaffected by spells, traps, can be targeted, can be destroyed by battle, and then you skill drain your opponent. You hit him with monster effects. They can't kill him by battle. They can't kill him by spells and traps. The only way is to kaiju. So like you can make Yazi invincible if you either back him with Chao Feng or you just back him with True King or just counter traps and stuff like that. I mean, Chao Feng is even more clutch if you make him with light attribute, fire attribute, and earth. The True King dinos can't use miscellaneous source. They can't use ultimate conductor, and they can't use any of their babies or their True Kings. They can only normal summon the Overraptor and search the cards that they can't use anyways. So he's just such a powerful card. He's like skill drain, but he's even more clutch because depending on whatever attribute monster you destroy, he special summons that. Like if he kills a water monster, he summons a water worm type. You can summon your True King water, your water True King, or a water Yang Zin. So this guy summons True Kings from deck or Yang Zins from deck. So he's also an engine like Baxia, but Baxia is from grave and this guy's from deck. And when he's killed, you search any tuner. So you can search like Ghost Ogre, any hand traps that you play if you're playing hand traps. Such a powerful card. Moving forward to Ultimate Zolkin, Trishula. There's a 4-card combo where you can Trish your opponent, Cypher and Little Omega, and then you can make this guy afterwards, or you can just make True King of all calamities. But yeah, just insane. But Trishula is just so clutch. It gets you there when you're going second. Like this deck, it doesn't matter if it goes first or second. It can win either way. You just like, the way this deck loses is if you counter its playstyle. You have to counter the strategy. Like, the way it works is just insane. Like I said, like if you let it do what it does, it's going to just walk all over you. Crystal Wing, Cypher and Little Omega, one of the most clutch cards in my extra deck. A lot of the times I forget I have them. Like sometimes I'll make a third Baxia when I'm like in my mind, I'm like, dude, I forget I have Omega. That third Baxia should have been an Omega. So sometimes I forget I have this guy, but it's just such a clutch card to have. He's insane. He just really helps you. Herald of Arclight. Also returning your banished cards. That's very important because he puts your Chi Win back into your grave so you can use Chi Win again. Because, you know, I only played 2 Chi Win. Arclight, because you turn your Denlong into 9 pillars to Denlong, and then Denlong into Herald of Arclight again. So you do like 3-4 negates in one turn off of one card. It's insane. And then the Phantom Fortress guy, so you can like Trishula everything. And to sum up the tallies, so we have 29 play starters, so we have 29 ways to open up into our combos. And then the rest of the cards are just play stoppers. So more than half of our deck is combo makers and play starters, and the rest of it is just literally play stoppers. So like that's insane. I really like that. So I wanted to do that to like give you guys the numbers so that you guys understand that when I'm talking about a deck that has high ceiling, I'm talking about the actual chances of it winning. Like ceiling to me is the chance and percentage that this deck has to win. And like a deck that like, okay, let's say this deck has like a 50% chance of winning. That doesn't have high ceiling because half the time it'll win, half the time it'll lose. This deck has an extremely high chance of winning, just going first or second because of what it does and how it is. It's such an aggressive deck. And most decks, like rogue decks, can't keep up with it. So it has extremely high ceiling. And I just wanted to do that and, you know, give you guys the numbers so you understand that they're facts and they're not opinions. Thank you guys so much. God bless y'all. Be safe. Make good choices. Don't hurt your brain cells. Carthage must be destroyed, and True King Yang Zin's awesome. The Rock, this deck is just so amazing. One more thing I will say is you're able to set up your chain links and resolve them backwards, so you can force your opponent to either strike this or don't strike anything. For example, when you use your True King and you pop multiples, you can set up your chain links how you want. So don't let anybody play you and think they can negate something before you get a chance. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, with that, that'll probably be my closing point, and be safe again. Thank y'all so much. Have a wonderful day, and we'll be hearing from you soon. And I'm going to do a combo video on the Zodiac Herald of Perfection because I came up with like 10 different things. All right, deuces. Come on, turn off. Turn off. Sorry, guys. Got to just cut.